Today's video, more Dodge Ram diesel shit. And I mean that with an exclamation point. I'm going to be replacing the power steering pump and lines, etc., etc. Howdy folks, what's happening on your side of town? Johnny 6-shooter here. Pop, 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 pop. That's what my gun sounds like. Pop, 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 pop. I got special ammunition. Hit me up if you need some. Only the special kind, not the regular shit. Yeah. This is kind of a continuation of previous truck video that I made previously. There's a previous video. I made it previously. That's how the shit works in life. I replaced the power steering gear in the truck before because I had a leak problem underneath. It was leaking a lot of power steering fluid. So I replaced it. Now I can't get it bled. And now I found another leak. This is what I'm dealing with. This is my fucking town. Welcome. A nice little loop-de-loop, little bang the Yui right here, yeah. Oh, fuck it, I'm not filming a video or nothing. No, nothing happening here. I think he's banging another Yui. The fuck is, this ain't a motocross track. I think he's taking off now. Now we got a cyclist, a cyclist. I should do a tour video. Fuck the truck. Let's do a tour video. Hit up town. Back to the truck. It was still leaking fluid, and I was trying to bleed the crap out of it. I couldn't get it bled fully, so my power steering isn't working 100%. It doesn't really work at idle. It only works when I give a little throttle, which isn't fun driving it like that. So I did notice another leak, so I'm just replacing everything else. I have done the Hydro Boost, which I will link up here. I've done the Hydro Boost before. So in the power steering system in a Dodge Ram diesel, it has the power steering pump drives the brake booster, which is a Hydro Boost, and also the steering gear, which is obviously for, you know, steering. So they're all linked together. They're all like, you know, in a loop in the same system. So Hydro Boost is fairly new. The steering gear is pretty much brand new. The only thing left is the pump itself and the lines themselves. So I'm replacing all of it. There can't be any leaks after that. None. Nada. There better not be. I'll light this bitch on fire. You don't want to miss that. Start getting into it once I am kind of set up and going to start ripping stuff out. I'll show you. I'm going to start with the lines, then do the pump itself. Once I'm all set up, etc., etc. We'll jump right into it. Actually, the way the video is going to be edited, I'm jumping into it right now. We're in the engine bay here on the driver's side. See, this is the reservoir for the power steering fluid. And the reservoir basically attaches right onto the pump. So the pump is basically right below this. It's really hard to see, you know, because the reservoir kind of covers the whole pump. I'll show you the new pump before I replace everything. But basically there's 4 bolts. There's 2 on each side. Actually there's 3 nuts and a bolt. And 1 bolt I'm gonna get from underneath. 1 nut is missing. I don't know. But there's 2 nuts on this side. There's 1 here and there's 1 right here. You can kind of see this one. I don't know how well this is coming out on camera. It doesn't look that great on my screen, but maybe it'll look better once I'm editing it. I already did take the charge pipe here. This guy, I already took it off. I'll make a lot easier access, kind of working down into here. So this is basically the charge pipe. This is like kind of, I guess you could call it the intake manifold. I guess it is the intake manifold. I don't know. I'm not a diesel guy. I'm a car guy. The charge pipe goes from here down to there. That's where the inner core is, or the end of the inner core. So I took that off. It'll make it a lot easier. Get my hands in here, tools, all that crap. I think overall make it go smoother. First, I'm gonna use like a what the fuck are they called? That thing, a baster, turkey baster. I'm gonna take as much fluid as I can out of the reservoir itself, and then, you know, just use a baster to pull it out. And after that, I'm gonna put a pan underneath the truck, and then disconnect the lower lines, and hopefully that'll start draining shit. These 2 lines have to come off right here. These 2 guys have to come off, so I'll probably try to wedge something underneath here to catch whatever comes out. There's 4 lines. there's a charge line that comes from the pump. That's this guy. This guy here comes up here, and there's a union here, so I'm going to take it apart here. That goes to the hydro boost, so that powers the hydro boost. There's a line that goes from the hydro boost, this hard line here, that line here, comes here. I'm going to disconnect it right here, and that goes down to the steering gear itself, which is this whole big monstrosity here. You can see this is like the union for the steering shaft that comes down from the steering wheel, and it goes into the steering gear, which is that hunk of crap. Which you should, watch that video too, because why the hell not? Because you should be a nice guy or gal. So the line goes down to there. Then they each have a separate return line. So it's a low pressure line. So this is one return line that goes into the steering gear, goes into the pump, and then this guy here comes all the way. This guy comes here, this guy, that guy, and goes down to the reservoir. So all 4 lines I'm going to replace. I'm sure they're not all bad, but I mean, I'm at this point. The lines themselves are like $10 each or something. I'm all in, committed at this point. I'm just going to replace everything. I'll show you underneath. I did see there's a leak coming from, looks like one of the lines. I don't know if it's the line itself, it's a seal from the line, or somehow it's the pump involved. I'm not sure. But I'm just replacing everything. Fuck it. Full send, bitches! I'll show you underneath the little leak situation I found, and then I'm going to just start ripping shit apart like a fucking Wolverine. Alright, right here, this is the one of the pressurized lines coming into the bottom of the reservoir, the bottom of the pump, and there's you can tell it's leaking, it's gathering right here. So I don't know if it's from the line itself, if it's from like the seal, because there's like O-rings in the bottom of the lines, or at the end of all the lines, well, the pressurized lines. So I don't know if it's the O-ring, the line itself possibly could have an issue. There could be an issue with the pump itself, and this is just where it's gathering. Thank you, truck. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm replacing shit. You can see the back bolts. I don't know how well you're going to see this. This fucking angle sucks. Right here is a bolt that's to the back of the pump, and there's one like straight above it. There's like a stud sticking out. It's actually easier to see from the top, but my nut's missing. I'm going to see if I have another nut in the garage. If not, I'm fucking it. Fuck it. Fuck this truck. Fuck this truck, bitch. This whole thing is a steering gear that I recently replaced. See, looks nice and new. I mean, there's dripping from all the other shit. I'll wipe it all up, but that's already replaced. The hydro boost up top is replaced, so it's time to fucking rip shit apart. Making some damn headway. This is the old pump here, new pump with the reservoir attached to it already. Sometimes you can, it's a lot more money to buy one with a reservoir, and the reservoir doesn't really go bad unless you bang it up or crack it somehow or screw up these output nipples, whatever you want to call them. I like nipples. What you have to do to get the reservoir off is you have to take this big nut off, and then you have this nut and that nut. And yeah, I still have to tighten these too. I just put them on a little hand tight. You take these 3 off, then what you do, you see there's like a rubber seal that goes all the way around. So this basically hugs that seal. So what I did is I use a vise to hold this. If you have a second person helping you or something like that, you could probably have the person just hold it. That will probably be alright. But I put it in a vise to hold it. I make sure I didn't pinch down on this, right? I mean, I did on this one, but make sure you don't pinch down on this. This looks like an important surface. I don't know if it is or not, but it looks important. When things look important, you assume they're important. So I clamped down like on the casting, and then I just used rubber mallet and just tapped it around, mostly up here. Kind of came off. You can do a little tap down here if you need to, but just slowly but surely type of situation. Tap it off. Installation. There's a couple of rubber O-rings inside that you have to replace. They came with them like in a separate package, but you have to replace. There's an O-ring here and there's an O-ring here. So you have to make sure you put them on before you put the cover back on it. And there's also an O-ring like inside of here. And there's an O-ring here as well. The new one, make sure you use a new plug because there is a new O-ring on the plug that came with the new pump. Make sure you use that because I'm sure this O-ring will probably leak. I'm sure it's used and abused like a $2 whore. So make sure you replace 1, 2, 3 O-rings before you put the cover back on. Then putting the cover back on is pretty easy. Just make sure you have these 3 holes lined up so that way these 3 will thread back in properly. Make sure they're lined up and then you just kind of tap it back on into place. Rubber mallet again. You can vise it or have a friend hold it, whatever. Tap it back into place and then just tighten these 3 back up. And boom, you're done. Well, you're not done with the whole job. I'm not done with the whole job, but you're done with putting the reservoir onto the pump. I got the old lines over here hanging out, so I'm not using them obviously. I got the new lines in the box right there, so it's time to put everything back in. One thing I did have to do, which you may or may not, I had one stud. One of these studs was stuck in the old pump, and obviously I need the studs to mount it back up and tighten everything down, so I had to go crazy. I had to do like the double nut trick where you put like, you know, 2 nuts on. You kind of tighten the 2 nuts together on the threads, and then like the inner nut, you put a wrench on it, and then you just unloosen, you just spin the inner nut. You don't touch the outer nut, and that'll get this to come off. So I had to do that trick to get the stud off, and I actually had to do the same trick, similar basically concept trick to get it back on, but instead of like the bottom nut that you would tighten down, you put the wrench on the top nut to tighten down. And then that's how you install studs of pretty much anything. So I had to replace one stud. One was like hand loose. You can see it's hand loose. So I just unthreaded my hand and threaded it in this one with my hand. So it's ready to go back in. So this, installation, reverse of deinstallation, removal. Just it's these 4 bolts or nuts, the studs. So those 4, obviously put into place, tighten those 4 down, and then you just have to hook the lines back up. These are for the 2 return lines, one from the brake. I don't know which one is which right now. I think this is for the hydro boost, and this is for the steering gear. And then this, I have to pull out, I have to use needle nose. Get this little green shipping plug thing out of there. And then that's where the pressure line going out to the hydro boost goes in. And then I have to hook up the lines, reverse order of everything else. So wish me luck. Hopefully I don't have any major issues. I had a few little speed bumps here, but overall, not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be so far. Fingers crossed. The Sun is Setting by Ryan Campbell. The sun is setting. We're approaching the peak. We're over the hump. We're nearing the crest. The sun is setting. Stay tuned for The Moon is Rising. I got all lines, the pump in, the whole shebang. The only thing I have left to do is to put that intercooler pipe back on and fill the system and bleed it. So I'll show you what I have done. What am I doing to my life, huh? Hey Ma, what's happened to me? You see we have the pump in place. We got some brand spanking new lines. These are 2 return lines. Return line from the hydro boost, return line from the power steering gear. We have a new it's down there. This guy here, that's a new pressure line that goes up here to the hydro boost. That's the hydro boost. That's for power brakes on a diesel, because diesel trucks don't normally have vacuum, so they power the power brakes with the power steering. I'm giving you a little lesson. And then we have the new line. These aren't new, but from here it's new. So this is the line going from, so the power goes into the hydro boost, and then it comes out of the hydro boost, and then new line here going down to the power steering gear. It's that line right there. This line right here is the return line, so that's the pressure line. So we got them all in. Everything's all snug. So I just have to put this pipe right there. That pipe goes, ow! Damn hood! Where the hood at? That pipe, this is the charge pipe from the intercooler to the intake manifold. So it goes from here down to, you can see where that blue rag is. That was a good idea. In general, it's something, if you're doing this, you should do, is I put a little rag in the hole, so that way nothing, if I dropped anything or debris falls or anything like that, it doesn't go into the intercooler. Because if it's in the intercooler and then you connect the pipe back up, it's eventually going into your engine, and that ain't cool. I put a microfiber towel rag there to make sure nothing gets in there. So I'll put this guy back on, then I'll fill up the reservoir, and then I'll bleed it. So to bleed it, basically what you do, there's a couple different methods that I've seen, but the one that came from the manufacturer of the power steering gear, this is the way they recommended to do it, is basically you jack the truck up in the air, you pull a fuse so that way you can crank the engine but it won't start because you don't want it to start. And then while it's up in the air, you crank it, and while you're cranking it, you slowly turn the wheel all the way left, all the way right. You do that a bunch of times. Don't do it like continuously. You're gonna have to do it a bunch of different times, like, you know, crank it, go back and forth, you know, lock to lock 2 or 3 times, stop. I actually I'm gonna pull up another car to hook jumper cables so the battery doesn't die. But give your starter, you know, a few minutes to kind of calm down. You also want bubbles to come out of the system. So you need, like, you know, you need to give a couple minutes for bubbles to, you know, slowly working their way up, you know, through the system, and then it'll come up the reservoir. That's how you bleed it. Wish me luck. Hopefully, when you see me or hear me next time, we'll be aces. If I'm lucky. So, I wasn't able to get the bleeding done that night. Things came up, had some problems, had to put things down like a dog with syphilis foaming at the mouth. Don't know if that's the proper course of treatment, but I'm no veterinarian. So I decided to make a video the next day of going through the process, through the old stepperoos of getting the bleeding done on the good old Cummins diesel. You're welcome. So basically, you want to keep going, keep doing that until you don't get any bubbles in there. This is the power steering reservoir here, and you can see the bubbles like right in there, like kind of at the top of the hole. Focus. I fucked it up. I messed this up. There we go. As you can see the bubbles there, a little cluster of bubbles. So you want to keep doing that, what I just did. Keep doing it until there's no bubbles. Make sure, you know, you give at least, you know, 3 to 5 minutes at least in between cranking and turning. Let the bubbles kind of dissipate so you can kind of keep a gauge on what's happening. and also to give your starter a little bit of a break so you don't, wear that out. Also give your battery a chance to recharge. If you have a charger hooked up, or like I'm doing here, I got the jumper cables hooked up to a jumper. It's a jumper, let it find the cliff. I'm gonna keep doing that, and hopefully we're good. And then I could finish this video, more importantly, finish effing around with this stupid damn power steering bullshit with this truck. All bled like a dead pig. You butchered, it's like, you get the analogy, I hope. So it actually took like a couple hours to do that. It was ridiculous, but it is what it is. But it's working now. I got power steering, I got brakes, everything's functioning. So we're good to go. Enough of this stupid crap with this stupid truck. I'm done up to here. I'm off camera, but it's that high. That high. Up, you need a ladder. I'm a tall guy. Next video. I don't know what it's gonna be. I have no damn clue, honestly. I'm hoping it's gonna be a 350Z like release type of video. I'm still trying to figure out, learn the camera and software and all that crap. It's taken me a little while. This truck really freaking threw me off schedule with that shit. I tell you that. I'm not happy with this. Not happy with this beast behind me right now. It's on my shit list. Is what it is. Please like the video. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe, all that good crap. And stay tuned for more stupid crap with me, your stupid idiot tour guide. In the meantime, drive fast, take chances.